Hi guys, Dr. Wendy Dearborn here from the Laws of Attraction in Action. That's the Laws of Attraction in Action.com, and of course right here on Facebook. Actually, it's been a little while since I have been on Facebook for a variety of reasons, including what happened last week. Last week it was really intense. And what I would say about my feelings about what happened last week is simply this. Anger, funny enough, didn't come into the equation for me. What I would share with you guys is I had a deep-seated, deep at a soul level, it was just so profound, the sadness that I felt for all lives lost. The one thing that I would say about me personally, that's Wendy personally, that I know that there is a bigger picture. Hi Cheryl, I know that there is a bigger picture. I'm still connected. I'm just going to keep going through it. Everything happens for a reason, and that's what I hold on to, and for a higher purpose. So that being said, guys, today what I want to actually talk about is how versus what next. How versus what next is huge for us. You know, guys, one of the things that I talk about, and I do talk about this fairly frequently, is that we don't actually know the entire story. We never know the entire story. We're not privy to the entire story. But what we do know in the story of our lives and how our lives integrate with other people, we know our story. And we only know our story after it has occurred. Only after. We can never know the story prior to. We can write, an outline of how we want the story of our life to go. But we can never ever know if it did go that way or if it is going to go that way until such time that the story has actually been read and narrated, i.e. until the story has come into manifestation. So we never ever know 100% what the entire story is. We only know our story, and again, guys, we only know this after it has been made manifest. So today, that's actually really quite important as a part of what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes, which is how versus what next. How is a very extrinsic, or how takes you on a journey. When you ask the question, how do I? It takes you on a journey that actually looks at your past experience for an answer. And there's actually absolutely nothing wrong with that. Even if you're asking somebody how, what you're actually looking for is information on a directive on how to do something. But you already know the something that you want to do. So when you are trying to manifest, or when you are actively, consciously working on manifesting something in your life, how isn't one of the best questions that you can ask. You see, your life is an inside job with an external manifestation. So asking how doesn't support you truly in getting an answer that is intrinsic. And when your answers come from inside, guys, you are plugged into the source. You're plugged into God. You're plugged into your higher self. You're plugged into your subconscious mind. You're plugged into whatever term makes you feel comfortable. You're plugged into your chosen deity. You're plugged into the temple of the living God, which is self. So when you go inside and get an answer, that answer invariably is the correct answer. When you start asking about how, especially when you are trying to manifest, you're working on manifesting something, invariably that doesn't give you the answers that you need. Now, many people will say to me, "Oh no, that's not true. That's not true." Well, what I would say to you is you need to put this to the test for yourself. One of the images that I have here, hi Jamila, one of the images that I have on, I think it was for this week's show, And literally it's this little man with a his head's really kind of big, but it's this little character with his head, and there's this big square block that's behind him, and the block has to be at least 5 times taller than he is, and on top of the block is all this money, and from where he's sitting he cannot see what else is around this block. But the actual image is very indicative of him knowing that the money's on top of this block, but not knowing how to get there. And you see him, and he's kind of holding his big old, and his head's really big, you know, kind of holding his big old head in his hands, as if to say, you know, how am I going to get this money? How am I going to get this money that I know's up there? How am I going to do it? I don't even know what to do. Well, you see, guys, the question is a wrong question. He was asking the wrong question of himself. And again, I am truly of the opinion many people ask how instead of asking what next. You see, how, as I said before, you go outside of self to get an answer. You will tap into every experience that you had. And guys, there's nothing wrong with that. If you need to know how to get to an address, you say to somebody, how do I get here? And they give you the directive. You know, how do I cook this cake? You know, how do I bake this cake? They give you the directives on the box, or somebody's going to tell you what to do. You see, how is indicative of being told what to do. When you ask what next, you are being told internally the next step in your evolutionary process. And that's the difference. You are being given the next step. So for the little caricature I was speaking about, the guy holding his head, if he had asked himself, what is the next step? He could even say to himself, well, I don't know. Okay, well, what isn't the next step? Well, the next step is clearly not sitting here holding your head in your hands, thinking about, okay, how am I going to get the money on top of this block? That's not going to work. So what's your next step? Well, what is it that you need to do? Well, I need to get on top of this block because I know my money's up there. I know my money's up there. My money had been promised to me. And I know that promise is true. I know my money's up there. So you know your next step is literally, to get on top of this box. Get on top of this building or this square or whatever it is. Okay. So what's your next step? Well, I need to either find something to climb on, or I need to find a way to scale this building, to climb up this building. I need to get on top of it. Now you're talking. That's not a how. Now you're telling me what your next step is. When you can actually ask yourself what the next step is, it will lead you to what you need to do. And then maybe you can ask the how question. But how can you actually find a solution to a problem you have if you can't even identify with clarity what the problem is and what you need to do? You just sit there and spin your wheels, which is something that I see people do a lot. You're just spinning your wheels. What is it that you really want to do? What are you wanting to do? What are you needing to do? And for this little caricature, it's about getting on top of that square block to get his money. So he says, okay, I know I need to get up there. That's what I need to do. Okay, so what does that look like for you? Well, I need to find something to climb on, or I need to see if there are any foot and toe holes on this structure so I can actually climb up. Okay, so what you going to do? Well, I'm going to walk around the building. Well, you see in the picture, on one side of the picture, there's the ladder. And that ladder will take him up and down so he can retrieve his money. But you see, if he continued to sit in front of this square block with his head in his hands, talking about how am I going to get my money, he'd never get it. You see, what next gives you the step that you need to take. And when you have the step that you need to take, you can then perhaps start looking at the how. How is a very extrinsic question that, as I said before, and I'm going to repeat myself, that is based on our past experience. That's based on our past experience. Our lives as they manifest, our lives as they unfold, are not based on our past experience. They're based on a new experience coming into manifestation. So guys, if you are having a challenge with figuring out how you're going to do the next phase of whatever it is you're doing in your life, perhaps the question that you need to ask yourself isn't how am I going to do this? Look, y'all, hormones are kicking me. It's not how you're going to do this, ladies. Literally, it's what is next. You have to ask what is next. And ironically, I had been talking about this, and then I think it was last week, I saw Oprah. She was like on somebody's red carpet, and somebody had a microphone, and she said that on her property, I'm assuming it's the one in Maui, on her property she has this big tree, and it's got like 12 really large roots, and she calls it the 12 apostles. Hopefully I heard correctly. And she says she goes there and she doesn't ask how, she asks what next. She ain't interested in the how. She asked what next. And what that told me was, hearing that, what that told me was, oh yeah, Wendy, you're on the right track. You hit the nail on this. Because that's something I actually ask. I ask to be shown. For the things that I speak about, I ask for validation before they come out my mouth. Before the words come out my mouth. I ask for that validation, but that's a whole nother story. I'm going to read this thing here. Cheryl says, I always ask myself, what can I do to get what can I do to get what I'm going to say is I'm trying to get at the same, is that the same thing? Okay. Cheryl asks, I ask myself, what am I trying to do? What can I do? What can I do? In that instance, tends to be a little bit extrinsic. Asking what next is really, it's really defined. It's a definitive. What do I do next? Not what can I do? Because you see, what can I do opens you to all different options, Cheryl. Hopefully that's and hopefully you're still online with us. Hopefully that makes sense to you, darling. What can I do? Like, what am I wanting? It's very, very definitive. You know, what would I like to do? What could I do? What can I do? Those are open to many, many interpretations. Definitely defined on what it is that you ask the question, what is the next step? It's not open to interpretation. This is your next step. Now, if you get the information and you don't like it, okay, I don't like this information. I'm not taking this next step. I need another step. So now what is my next step? Okay. Yes. Yes, that answers my question. Okay. All right. What, Jamila, did you actually ask a question? Did you, if you asked the question, I didn't actually see it. But that being said, ladies, it's really important. You see, one of the things that I am definitely moving towards is, one, I'm huge about dialogue. Your internal dialogue literally manifest the life that you're living. Okay, Cheryl, thank you, darling. It will literally manifest the life that you are living. It's so important to listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. No, the whole discussion on what next helps put things into perspective for me. Okay, got you. Thank you, Jamila. It's really important to check your dialogue. I know I could say I've been here where in Las Vegas maybe about 21 years, stateside again 22 and a half. And prior to that, I was really vigilant about what I said and what I thought, what I said and what I thought. And I know as the years have gone by, while I do actually think before I speak, it's not like I used to be. It's not like I used to be. So the pendulum has swung, blah, 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 blah. And I realized for myself, I actually need to make change with that because of how things are manifesting in my life. And I'm being shown. And you will be shown. Believe me, guys, you will be shown. You see, if you truly think at a soul level, at your soul level, nobody else's, at your soul level, that you aren't worth and worthy of anything, this is how life will manifest for you. You'll go to the store and you'll buy fish. You will ask at the counter, or you'll buy meat or whatever it is, and you'll ask at the counter, is this fresh? And they say yes. Yet still you get home, and when you open it, it's not good. This is indicative of how you think of self. And many people will say, oh, that's a kind of sweeping leap. No, everything that happens to you is happening for you based on how you think. And once people are able to embrace that, it really can change the paradigm of your life. It changes how you show up in life, because what happens is it changes how you think about life. So bringing it back round to how versus what next, guys, don't ask how am I going to do so and so unless it's an address or unless it's direction. Hey Jeff, how you doing? Unless it's direction that you are looking for, guys, don't ask how am I going to do this. Ask what's next. Ask what's next. Again, as I was saying to you, this is really this is my purpose. I'm doing my purpose. I'm very, very clear on that. I'm very, very clear on that. Hi Jeffrey, darling. Ask what's next so that you can take the next step. And again, as I said before, guys, once you're clear on what it is that you have to do, or the next step is, then the how can come into play. But again, it has been my professional and personal experience and opinion that most people live from the how, because we live our lives from an external point of view. Or let's put it this way, that's how we consciously interact. It's from an external point of view, when in reality our lives are lived totally from an internal perspective. So if you've got stuff going on, guys, don't ask how, ask what next. What is the, and there's power in that. You know, that's another thing. There is so much power to be had in our spoken word, and even more power to be had in our thought process. Our thought process is the materialization through the power of our word of the things that manifest in our life. So what next? That's the question, guys. That is the question to ask yourself. What next? And sometimes it can be a little scary, the answer, because it can be like, this is next. And you're like, whoa, let's break this down into bite-sized pieces a little bit smaller, which actually is the universal law of order in creation. That's actually, there's a process that needs to take place with the universal laws so that creation can come in creation. And that order is, you need to know what you want first. In order for you to have anything, you need to know what you want so you can take the steps. And then there's the process in which the universal laws process this. You know, and how does not come before next. And this thing's telling me that my connection is really weak. So what I'm going to say, guys, is that your broadcast has been paused. Guys, were you able to hear everything I said about the prosperity consciousness? Just give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you heard that. Anybody, somebody, anybody, somebody, give me the thumbs up so I know if you heard it. Well, let me just say this. Next month, for the month of August, we're going to be doing right here on Facebook, the Laws of Attraction in Action. We're going to be doing prosperity work, but it's not just about money. It's about your spiritual prosperity. It's about the soul prosperity, the prosperity of your physical, the prosperity of your physical self, that type of prosperity. And I'm going to be bringing to you for the month of August. It's a 30-day thing. So for the month of August, bringing to you tools that you will use to make your own recipe. If you hadn't heard me say this before, it's about you doing your own due diligence. I can't do it for you. And everybody will bring something different to the equation, which is why there are 1,001 ways or 2,001 ways to cook chicken, and two people can do the same thing, but it tastes different. They can use the same thing, but it tastes different. So it is when using the laws of attraction and trying to manifest and consciously manifesting for your life. So guys, that's all I wanted to share with you today. I apologize about the connection. Don't know what's going on there. But that is technology, and that's why I love it. Love you too, guys, and I will talk to you later. Until next time, you can find me here on the Laws of Attraction in Action, and same said, lawsofattractioninaction.com. I'm Dr. Wendy Dearborn. Until next time, guys, peace. You're welcome, Cheryl. Love you, Jeff. Thanks, Jamila, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.